Hello, everybody. Hello,
I think
hello.
I broke
What?
my computer. Oh no, it's working. Never mind.
It's
Oh,
a great way. Great way to start a podcast, guys. Hello, welcome to another week of not Joshua Talk, J Talk, J Talk. What we're doing on J Talk. I'm Joshua, joined by my esteemed co-host Jerry One Hero. Jerry.
yeah, guys. Thank you for coming on to another week of the J Talk podcast. Since it's now the Josh Talk podcast, we appreciate it. We got a really special guest this week. The I want to say creator of the GMI Manga
You would be
website.
correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Good. Whew. Global Manga Initiatives creator, owner, awesome, whatever. He's the Stanley of GMI, Peter Johnson.
Hey folks, how's it going? Thanks for having me, guys.
Awesome. Happy to have you. Look forward to tonight.
Yeah.
So, before we get into it, I want to ask, anyone been reading anything good lately?
I mean, we've been getting a lot of new submissions on our site, and I'm very excited by a lot of the new indie stuff I've been seeing. You know, we've had some updates, a lot of new people coming to the site now, and I'm kind of loving the new stuff like Love Metal, and we got, you know, as always, we got J stuff, we got Infinite. That's always good to see. Got some new stuff like Endless Oblivions out there, and I'm kind of interested to see some of the samples of the new works that are coming out. That's always good. But sorry, that was sort of a long self-plug.
No, go ahead, plug away. That's why one of the things you're on here is you're here to promote GMI Manga. And what is GMI doing right now, Peter?
Basically, what we're trying to do is GMI, the Global Manga Initiative, is a sort of a new creative artist network for webcomic artists who work in the independent, you know, the manga circuit, manga style. And we sort of want to help out these artists because ever since, you know, sites like Ink Blazers went down, there's a lot of people out there kind of floating about on the net looking for a new kind of home for independent manga, not just, you know, the professional stuff. So we're trying to both provide a sort of new community for these guys, and also we provide a sort of an annual award show to try to determine the best series out there in this style, and we give production donations of about $5,000 annually to this kind of thing. So we really just want to help out this kind of niche audience of creators, help them financially and help them to have a place for them.
Awesome. No, I love that. I think you're the first website that's given, like, probably, honestly, my favorite form of, like, compensation is, like, Ink Blazers is, like, you got put into a group, and that group split a pot of, like, $20,000 or something equally every month, and it was confusing. I didn't like it. I just like that what you do is it's just, like, a solid, like, you win, you get the money, and that's it. Just one transaction. It's simple and easy.
It focuses more on
the direct thing. And another thing is we're currently we've been nice enough to be contacted by a group from Japan, actually, called Ensoku Manga, and they're currently doing a thing where they're offering, like, the top-ranked series for this month, for May. They're gonna take that work, you know, contact that artist, and do what's called a motion comic, which essentially, like, they take your work, they add, you know, animation to it, and they add Japanese voice actors, and kind of turn this, like, sort of anime-esque thing where you can kind of see what your work would be like if it was, like, you know, like a full-fledged anime. And I'm really looking forward to, you know, hopefully as we expand, because I want to be able to give a lot more back to the community and kind of be able to do more of these, like, you know, monthly, more common little things, so that it's not like
one-off competitions.
Yeah, like instead of, in addition to sort of a, you know, once a year kind of big thing, I would love to be able to kind of be like, hey, we have constant prizes, like, you know, and being able to kind of, you know, what's the thing for this month? What is GMI doing this month? Like, I would love to have that. So that's definitely something we would like to, you know, look forward to in the future.
Yeah, awesome. If I go ahead and pull this up right here, I just wanted to show, this is the voting page on GMI, and how you get to it is you say, you have this little toolbar up here, you go to vote, you go to vote page, and this is right here. And you say that the highest rated for the month gets the animation.
Yeah, yeah. And Soku's going to contact them, and just they're really testing the waters with this. They want to do like a little, hey, if this works out, maybe we could work together more closely in the future and offer stuff. And they're compared to us a much bigger network. So if we can get, and they're looking to kind of branch into more of an English-speaking audience. So if this goes over well, hopefully you'll see a lot more content and a lot more opportunities for guys in the indie manga circuit, and that would be just phenomenal.
Yeah, for sure. It's like a lot more of a tangible reward. Like, I like the idea that it's something that you get, you have it, and you don't lose it.
No.
I think one of the big problems I see with indie creators is that once the money, you get the money and the money runs out, and that's it. You blow through money really easily. So I think the idea of like tangible rewards that there are things that will follow the comic around on the internet, really good. I really like that idea. So no, that's awesome.
Yeah, they said that once they get this stuff, once the actual motion comic is finished, we're going to promote it on the site, and Soku's going to promote it, and we're probably going to put it on both like YouTube channels, and I mean you'll see it everywhere. So it would be great to be able to do stuff like that, and like I don't know, like other things like people have said maybe you should expand it into like there's like some sort of independent action figure company that might want to do like a promo deal, like kind of like a little Price is Right action, like oh somebody's gonna come this month and support, be like the opportunity of the month kind of deal. That'd be a great way to do that.
Yeah, no, like what Twitch does is to help support creators. I don't know if you know what Twitch is. Twitch is an online streaming company for video games, board games, anything like entertainment related in that aspect. And what they do is they'll say, okay, so this person's got a certain level of popularity, they're partnered with us and whatnot, we're going to do a t-shirt campaign. And you can go, you can buy the t-shirts, and you buy the t-shirts, and you support the creators. Twitch gets a little bit of a kickback, but then you get your merchandise. It's a cool kind of like little cycle that you can follow and support creators and whatnot.
Yeah, and that's definitely like the kind of area we would love to expand into. Being able to kind of just, not even like grandiose prizes in addition, but also like the smaller edge of like, hey, you know what? I've always wanted to have a t-shirt of my work. I've always wanted to, see my work animated, that kind of deal. Like just little like, oh, it's kind of a neat opportunity.
No, yeah, awesome. That's really cool. So all right. Jay, do you have any questions, or do you mind if I launch right into this topic?
I would gladly like to say something, Josh. I just wanted to, wait till I could peek my head above water. But I think it would be pretty cool with those contests, the way that you're doing it, to offer people the opportunity to just feel a part of something. The thing I like about GMI in general is it's trying to do what Ink Blazers failed to do, and I felt like with them putting artists in the position of moderators and people in charge was one of the worst things to do. It's kind of like saying, hey, Kobe, Jordan, LeBron, we're going to take all you off the court, and we're going to pretty much put you in charge of who comes into the league and who doesn't. And it's like, well, I don't want nobody better than the league, better than me in the league, so I'm going to keep them there, or I'm not really going to know what to look for. And that's one of the things.
A major part of this has, like, as we've kind of gone along with this thing, is that you realize that just like anything, just like any kind of vote thing, there can be a major, like, people will kind of take whatever actions necessary to kind of, get theirs, and keeping this thing balanced is definitely something that requires a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for, like, neutrality and just being like, look, we're not going to take sides. We treat everybody equal. We want to see the best stuff, and there have been a lot of people who kind of been like chomping at the bit to come out on top. And so I definitely feel you when you say that. Like, you got to definitely keep this thing. You got to keep it kind of. There has to be this sort of like interpersonal thing to an extent, at least when it comes to like the votes and stuff like that. You have to be like, treat everybody the same, treat everybody fair. Don't put anybody in a position that would be like a conflict of interest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, don't mix business with pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I forgot I was going to mention. Oh, so yeah, I wanted to talk to you about what is the inspiration for GMI. Now, I noticed there's like I don't know if you saw on the website when I screen shared it. There's this galaxy thing going on, and, galactic in space, and series are sorted by galaxies. You got your Burst Galaxy for your action manga. You got your Heart Galaxy. And you got your Shine Galaxy. And I'm not really familiar with what they all are. I don't want to give incorrect labels. So why don't you go? I'll let you go ahead and promote that.
All right, I'll explain that the sort of like the motif that you said, like the galaxy thing. We started that way back when the site was sort of like first starting up, and it was like we need like a little like kind of like a symbol, like something that kind of stands out. Everybody has their thing. I think Ink Blazers have one. Tapastic has that little hat inkling thing. So it was like, what are we going to do for GMI? And one of the motifs that I kind of came up with for that was like a galaxy motif, because it has a sort of sense of like, I mean, if you think about it, this community is sort of made up of a whole lot of little planets or places, systems of websites and networks and things like that. And this was sort of a way to kind of say, you join GMI, that doesn't mean you're kind of locked in. You're not like signing away your rights or whatever. Everything is totally free. Everything is totally, but it is still, even though it's like this overarching community. So sort of like a galaxy, you got all these systems and planets and like little parts. That was sort of the way I wanted to approach it. Like every little teeny tiny bit, whether you're like a sun, like a star, or like a tiny little planet or whatever, there's like, this is a place for you. This is sort of like an overreaching thing, because this is about taking on something bigger in the sense of revolutionizing and showing what manga can be and how it can change. And so that was sort of the motifs. And then in terms of the three galaxies, I guess the best way to kind of think of those, because a lot of people, as we were founding this, they were like, what's a good way to sort of spotlight, to kind of put the focus on the series? And we kind of came up with this idea of just being like branches, so you got Burst, Heart, and Shine. And the kind of general, I guess you could say, driving themes for those would be like, you got Burst, which is more like action-oriented stuff. You got Heart, which is more like drama, kind of like good story, maybe like fantasy sort of thing. You got Shine, which is more like lighthearted webcomic stuff. So that was sort of like the three overarching, I don't want to say like labels, but just sort of like the same kind of thematics we would find in this sort of stuff. And as time goes on, obviously, if we can kind of get, if there's more demand for a fourth or maybe even a fifth kind of galaxy kind of thing, that would definitely be something we would consider. The reason we kind of incorporated that was just sort of to give people who were just like, I'm just here for the action. I'm just here for dramatic. I want something serious, or I'm just kind of here for like a lighthearted, 4-coma kind of webcomic kind of thing. Kind of give these people sort of a place to kind of be like, all right, just show me this, because one of the things seeing like the past, like Ink Blazers and stuff like that, that it kind of made it a little bit like, I don't want to say user hostile, just kind of like, it's a little bit weird, is that they would kind of throw everything at you at once, and there really wasn't like any flair to, this is like your action area, this is like your comedy area. It was just sort of everything was kind of just lumped into one kind of, you go look it up on the search engine if you want to see it, but there wasn't any, any passion about presenting it. So I felt that was something that not only for the sake of focusing presentation, but also like those are the the works that we promote. So we take a little time to be like, hey, if you like action, you can focus on the Burst Galaxy, and here's what's going on with that one for this month. And if you like comedy, you go to Shine. That's what's going on with that one. So that's sort of like the idea we had for that.
I personally feel like with GMI Manga that the forefront and forerunning thing has always been like for the action comic, the action manga, because you got like Tapastic. Tapastic was more about the comedy or the gag reels, the short comics. They didn't really have a thing like that. And as I told Josh before, when I initially wanted to invite you on, I wanted to talk about more of like it feeling like a home for long form or long serial stories, because it's been depicted by places like Tapastic that you want long form stories, go to Smack Jeeves or somewhere else, or Hiveworks if you can get in, because that's what they focus on, because readers' retention levels aren't high enough to sustain the best readership for a long form story. And I just thought that was the weirdest thing, and kind of sort of not encouraging those that want to create those stories that inspired them, because not everybody wants to tell a gag a day or a short story or anything like that. They want to tell those stories that they have the ability to draw, that inspired them, from the Narutos to the Bleach and so on and so forth. So when GMI came up and stepped up to the plate and, you know, started to make its own improvements and go forward, it started to catch my eye as, hey, maybe this is a real thing. Maybe this can be what the others don't want to be. So yeah, Tapastic may still be it's in its same prominence and dominance, but you've got places like Line Webtoon that are falling into the same pattern as Tapastic. You've got Smack Jeeves that's too difficult for people to use. Tumblr is like a sea of comics if you can learn how to put it on there the right way. And then it's like, hey, well, there's GMI Manga, and I don't think a lot of people know about it. I know there's not a ton of promotion for it, but I think if there was the right push at the right time, a lot of people would start coming over there, because there are tons of people that are always on the Tapastic forums and forums in general, from comic book resources to anything, saying, where's a good place to post my comic? Where's a good place to post my action story? I don't really know where, because I feel like action stories are being really realmed out as this whole cliche thing, or they're tired, or there's nothing original behind it. So people really shun it out, and they have nowhere to go.
Yeah, I will say that actually one of the primary inspirations behind like the way that we decided to present GMI and like how we got it is sort of like the Shonen Jump sort of format, the way that used to work. I mean, I don't know, since then, if you remember back in the day, you get these big, extravagant, nice anthologies that would come in, and that was definitely sort of like an action-focused thing. So there is definitely some influence from that there. But I totally agree with you in the sense that I have kind of kept tabs on, Tapastic and other sites, and there definitely is, I mean, like, understandably so, considering we live in, like, the iPhone age where people just kind of like a bite-sized entertainment chunk. There is sort of this, focus more on, like, the kind of daily gag kind of things, which made it harder for people who wanted to tell, like, a serious story. And I remember one of the things that when I was working on like the new network update, I would get the Tapastic, like their daily, here's the comic of the day kind of thing, and it would be like always kind of like a gag or always like a quick joke, and it would be like, all right, that's quick and that's digestible. But one of the things that I feel, taking it back to like the Shonen Jump thing, they were very good at, and one of the like in terms of promotion and how you treat the works on under your wing, that is getting involved in the lore of the work. And what that means is like, when somebody updates on GMI, the way that we've sort of tried to promote it is like, when you get on the roster, when you're part of that, you're not just like the highest ranking thing. We kind of dive into your story. So like to use like Jay's work as an example, it's like, oh, what's going on with Infinite? Oh man, you should see like Kyo has, he found out his siblings were killed in that fight, and oh my God, and that was something that you really don't see in a lot of other sites. They tend to just kind of be like, all right, we'll just put all the comics in one place, and whatever one hits the top, that's what's going to be at the top, numerical, like it's like a formula. But I never got the sense that like anybody was actually reading these works. Nobody was trying to get you immersed in this story, because that's what it is. I mean, it's a tale, it's a mythos. I mean, yeah, it's not freaking George Lucas, it's not $1 million thing, but it is in and of itself a world, and with characters, how things are going. So one of the big things I really want to do with GMI, and been trying to do, is keep people like, this is a story you're invested in, and here's what's happening. And that was something that Shonen Jump, I think, not only was very good at, but was very beneficial for them. I mean, I think we can all safely say, like, we've had that moment where we would open up like a Shonen Jump, like an anthology format, and we'd be like, I want to see what's happening in Dragon Ball. And then you would go look up what's happening in Dragon Ball. And then while you were flipping through, you're like, what's this Naruto thing called? And you'd be like, oh, it's Naruto. That's pretty good. And you would get invested in other stuff because you were there for one thing. Because the work, not just in the way it was they just had all the stuff in one anthology, but because even like the covers and like the inserts of all of those anthologies, and to this day, I'm pretty sure the way they still run it in Japan, is it was very good about not only presenting these stories as popular or as what they were posting, but also as like, here's what's going on in this world, here's what's going on in this world, and here's why you should be interested in reading it. And I definitely remember being snagged at like an early age by some of that method of presenting the works that were under their wing. So I definitely think that's something we want to try to keep doing moving forward.
Awesome. Yeah, that was one of my big drawbacks from being on Tapastic is it's kind of like this big hodgepodge of every single story on their front page. And if you don't get it into the staff pick section, I really think it's a lot harder for you to be found. Admittedly, you can still be found like the popular and stuff, but outside of the search bar, you're kind of screwed over. So I really like the idea of the galaxies and whatnot. I think that's just a great idea all around, and giving a hub for each kind of story. And it follows the same function of like, you have all of the stories, but you separate them more and more and more, and you diversify from that point on. Like you say, action shonen, action battle. So,
yeah, and we're even trying to do that. We're trying to kind of marry that sort of style as well as in like the Galaxy format. Like even the way we're trying to do like searches, and like because in this day and age people come in and go like, I just want to search for action or mystery, whatever. Even the way that comics are presented in like searches, you get these kind of like bars, and not only they tell you, here's the story, here's the sort of description, as most other sites do, but you also have sort of like little previews on the side that will sort of show you a little bit of like a sample of that work, like because the way that works is when you create a new chapter on GMI, you're allowed to make what's called like an update image. That's sort of like a kind of like a clip, like the way you would see in like maybe Shonen Jump or like any other comic series, where it's like a little sample of what's going on, and all three of those will present themselves on the side of like a search results for a comic. And if you're following a work and you're like logged into the site, a kind of nifty little feature is if you say like, let's say I'm reading Jay's work, I'm reading Infinite, and I go back to it and I see the bar, it'll show me not only how far I am through the work, but it'll give me on the side those three images. Would be like a little rehash of what I had, because it'll show the previous images from the last three chapters I read. So I'm like, what's going on? Oh, I remember this. Yeah. Okay, cool. And you can just kind of jump right back in.
Now that is something that's missing on Tapastic or any other site, and they told people, if you want to find success, this is what you must do. You must create a recap episode at the end of each update or at the end of a chapter. And I'm like, so you're telling me you want me to do more work to not get noticed still, but if the people that happen to notice me will know what's going on?
Yeah.
And and the crazy part is they tell you, if it's nothing to do with the comic, don't update it. We shun you for that. So I thought that was really weird, because that's what I mean, like for long stories in general, just long serious stories, whether it's a volume, whether it's a multiple volume story, they really make it hard if it's not full color, it's not with a female lead character, it's not written or created by a female. There are a lot of places where they focus on those things, or short day and gag day comics, and that's all they promote and push, and it makes it harder for just people in general as creators. And I'm not talking just because I'm a male. I'm talking because of the experience that I've seen over time with just being in the forums and just sitting there and watching the constant, the ones that get hit up more than others. It's always like anybody under 600 subscribers, put your comic here to get exposure. People have to resort to spamming the forums with that many posts over and over again just to get exposure because of places that won't promote their content. Not some content, not the content you want, but their content. People dedicate themselves day to day, week to week to put their stuff out there on the line to be judged, criticized, passed over, and just misused. And all you guys are doing is raking up the bills, and you're not even giving anything back. You took away like a lot of people are taking away their support programs, and it's like, what incentive are you giving for people to really pursue? They really have to have a strong why.
Yeah. I definitely think that it's a bad call in general if you're running like a creative network or any kind of like creative community. Telling people this is the way you must do things. That's just not good. Like especially and like that kind of resonates with me because part of the reason that I want this thing to be, I launched GMI was to be like, you know what? Rather than everybody saying this is what manga is, it has to be blah 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 blah. It's like come here. Show what you think it is, and let's see how that unfolds. And a big part of like I said, giving people like their own comic hubs and stuff like that is because I want artists to feel comfortable presenting and promoting their works in their own way. And some of the new updates we're looking to do in the future are going to hopefully be able to give people not only that freedom, but the ability to make a profit off of it, so that they're not just sort of, because I know it's super tough to be a comic creator, and I would love to, help ease that burden, especially for what I consider, manga, which to this day, I feel is sort of it's a great art form, don't get me wrong, but it's still sort of contained to its origin culture, to Japan, and I would love to see more, because there is an international response and sort of evolution of the style. But I would love to see more works from Europe, from South America, from like all over the place, and just see what this art form that has affected so many people can do once it's given the freedom to sort of evolve and grow in multiple formats. And I definitely think that if you focus too much on the sort of bite-sized, digestible stuff, which it sounds like Tapastic and Tumblr and stuff like that focus on. I mean, I can understand why that's appealing, because it is like, it's just the, quick, little comics, and that's easy to share and stuff like that. But you do lose sort of like the mythos and lore kind of works, the the ongoing stuff, the long form that we were talking about. So I think it's important to kind of give people that freedom to promote their stuff, regardless of how they do it, and not say you have to do it like this, because that's not the way to do it.
See, I really like, one of the features I really like about GMI, and this is one of the big things, is that I'm able to organize like more like a book rather than just like on Tapastic. It's just kind of like a stream of, these are images, or you don't really know what they are. You just know that there's images that you can select and choose from, and that's cool. And it shows you how to read them. That works. Again, it works really. I'm not blasting Tapastic. I love the website Tapastic. I think they got some problems, but who doesn't? I really, though, dislike how there's no organization. It's built around your phone. Therefore, like, they don't incorporate any organization into the base website. And admittedly, their new app definitely incorporated more organization. But the organization on GMI blows the Tapastic out of the water. Like, I can make a chapter, I can set new page updates into it, and that will go to people. I have blog posts. You can support with your Patreon. You can follow. You can go through the archive. You have all this information here, and it's all neatly organized, all set up. Like, and that was a big appeal for me. Was like, so on Tapastic, I wanted to upload the behind-the-scenes photos, the pencils, but I couldn't really do that without interspersing them between the comic. I didn't like the way it flowed. It looked. So I don't really do that unless making an announcement. But on GMI, I got my main chapter, and I can update that, and that update goes to people's inboxes. I like that. But even better is there's now a second chapter where it's the behind-the-scenes images. It's the black and whites, the pencils, and you can see the process from pen and paper to inks and colors and whatnot. So for me, like, that's a big appeal, was being able to organize things and do it the way I wanted to do it.
Yeah, we put a lot of thought and care into the ability, like the reader and the editor, like the way that you can present your comics, whether you're working like a single page style or like a 2-page. One of the things that I always noticed that I kind of like irked me is that a lot of sites had a hard time with spread images. Like you got like, say you're left to right or right to left kind of comic, and you got like 1 page, 2 page. You open it up and there's a big spread image that takes up pages 3 and 4. So that was something we wanted to incorporate, and we got that. And I think we got that pretty solid. So that kind of recreates that manga experience. And one of the things we're looking to work on for like our Kickstarter coming up is a vertical style, like scrolling. Because people are like, all right, well, what about you got a good left or right? What about like up and down? So I'm like, all right, we want to expand that. We want to make the reader area live and the live area bigger and more, just expand that. The heart of, because I mean, obviously, the heart of these sort of things is how the comics themselves are presented, how much freedom the creators have to present their work the way they want to see it.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's really cool. You say you got a Kickstarter coming up soon. Do you want to talk about that at all, or?
Yeah, essentially what we're doing right now is I've been working because we've been taking feedback. The network launched back in November, and we're because essentially I'm funding this, me and like maybe 2 other people are funding this sort of thing out of pocket. This is a labor of love, and we're essentially competing with the big boys like Tapastic and stuff. So we definitely want to look into like crowdfunding, like Kickstarter or Patreon and stuff like that, because you do have to kind of pay the bills at the end of the day. And but we are kind of pricing out ideas for expansion to the site. Now we're going to start small because one of the things that I think is very important toward Kickstarter, crowdfunding, that sort of thing, is dependability. Being able to say like, oh, these guys, they wanted to do this, they did this, and they actually followed through. You always hear these kind of horror stories or disappointments on Kickstarter or stuff where it's like somebody, took 1,500, whatever dollars, just kind of ran for the hills. So we want to start with like very simple stuff, like we've had some common complaints about like login and stuff, and these people, they're right. There are some problems on the site. We're far from finished with updating and improving GMI. But we're going to start with just like basic stuff. We're going to try to incorporate a system where you can just log in with like Facebook or Twitter, save people some of the hassle, and we're going to start with a very kind of low ball improvement on a Kickstarter thing. Get that out there, get that done, show that we are, we're dependable. We're not going to just take your money and run with it like some other people on Kickstarter have done. And then kind of go from there, and I guess you kind of say like it's sort of like a stretch goal mentality. Like we start with like the basic stuff, and then we keep kind of snowballing to bigger and bigger things, and see what the reaction is, see what people want, and see what's priority. Starting at basics, we've got improvements to the general site. As I said, registration, improving some bugs, things like that. As we get further down, we're going to get into more things like adding new formats to the reader, new options for the creators, and then eventually into an ability where people can actually monetize their work and set up sort of a system. Right now, what we're kind of looking at is sort of a system akin to, I guess you could say kind of like a Patreon or Kickstarter thing, where you'll be able to go into your comic and say, I want to make a profit off of this, and set up various like reward levels, so people can like donate to your work. Say I like Infinite or Dizzy or something, and I come there and I say, you know what, I would like to give $5 a month to this work, and Jay can set, all right, if you donate at like a $5 a month level, you'll get this exclusive art, so blah 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 blah. Or if you donate at a $10 level, you get early access chapter. Now the important thing to note here, because a lot of the complaints that we've got when it comes to monetization is that rewards or like incentives are kind of annoying in the sense that you have to keep track of who did what and da 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 da. So we're also looking to and again, this is all very down the road because it's, we definitely want to start with the essentials first. But down the road, one of the things we'd like to do is you can upload your own incentives in like a file format. You can upload a chapter, or you can upload a audio visual kind of thing, whatever you want to give to your fans, and it's just automatic and you give it to them. So it's sort of like you do it and then you forget it. You put it up, and then you just sort of sit back and go, let's see what people think of my work, and they're automatically getting their incentives, and you don't have to worry about it. So you don't have to worry about micromanaging it, because you should be focusing on drawing more chapters.
Mm-hmm. No, I like that. So. Yeah. So what do you? So that's the big feature of GMI. Is there anything else you wanted to share about like the future, what you think GMI will be or what it will become? You talked about you have your animation contest and how you're going to make that maybe more monthly competitions, upcoming quality of life fixes and support fixes. Is there anything else like new galaxies coming, things like that?
I will say this, going forward, we do have a lot of different opportunities right now because we've got the Ensoku deal on the table, and that could be something great. We got Kickstarter coming up, that could be something great. I would encourage anybody listening to this right now who seems to be resonating with this sort of thing, get involved, get on the forums, voice your feedback, because we do listen. That has always been something that I want to state, is that this is sort of a, we're not a Tapastic, we're not, we don't have a huge, already established network, so this is sort of like a rising thing, and I invite people to get involved in the sense of tell us the kind of stuff you would love to see, because that's what we're working to do. We're working to improve things for the community at large, and working to make people's lives better, because that's what this is all about at the end of the day. And you know, we are listening, so don't hold back. Come in and voice your feedback.
Awesome. Jay, is there anything you wanted to add to that?
No, I mean, I wanted to say this a while back. This is not really a, let's point fingers and slag at Tapastic or slag at anything else. I just feel like that there are a lot of people that are just willing to accept where they go and where they take their comic to after Ink Blazers went down and fell. People tried to resurrect it. They didn't realize how much work was in it. They didn't have enough support behind it. It's unfortunate. It would have been nice to have something like Ink Blazers get resurrected, but when you have somebody that's taking the flaws, the faults, and the mishaps from a lot of the other sites and try to compile it into something different, it's really, really cool to see, which is why I've been so behind the thing. I may not have thought of the idea, but I can't say that I don't appreciate the idea, that I resonate with the idea, and that I think there are a lot of people out there that are missing a great opportunity to be a part of something before it does reach a higher level and it does get big, because when you have somebody that's truly personable and doing it as a labor of love, that's what really matters most. A lot of our favorite musicians that are the ones that do it out of pure passion and out of pure, just this is my craft and this is what I enjoy doing. We love them. Musicians in general, you follow them because you're like, I love them as a person and I love what they do. I know what they represent. So when you see something like GMI come along, and to know that they are competing with those people that don't care, to know that don't listen. Smack G's does their own thing. Hive Works is like, if it's up to snuff, we'll do it. Like I said, Tumblr's still into free for all. And then Tapastic, they're like, hey, this is what we want. This is what makes us our money. This is what we think is best for business. It's kind of like watching wrestling right now. They're going to continue to do what they think is best for business, whether we like it or not. So when you have a chance for change, you want to go for change. And like I said, I've been on Tapastic. I have a big amount of subscribers. But how many people actively out of that 800 and something subscribers read my comic and engage me? 15. Actively every week like my stuff, and that's who I do it for. I don't care about that subscriber number. I mean, I may have mentioned it before, but I don't care about that. I care about those people that come back every week, that like it, and the people that do go out their way to comment. So that's what
the people who are involved in the lore you're making.
Exactly. And when you have a crew, when you have the person that's going to be running something like that doesn't want to put their hands into it and change it, but wants to be involved and to know. I mean, given Peter did pronounce KO's name wrong, but he at least tried.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. But I had to wait for that one. I didn't want it to be too soon. But
I knew it was coming, Peter. I heard you mispronounce. I was like, oh, poor guy.
Okay. Yeah, my bad about that, man. I've only seen it written. Yeah.
It's okay. It's really cool to know that it's there. I just really hate that not enough people know that there are a lot of people that would benefit better in this community and environment versus Tapastic. I mean, even one of the my Burst Galaxy mates, I'll call her, Ogawa Baruku, very vocal person, very vocal person, very
She's
vocal,
been great.
one of the most vocal people I've ever known, even from her Ink Blazers days. I may not agree with everything she says, but I do respect her and her stance and everything. She was on Tapastic. She was one of the big forerunners for Tapastic, and then she realized, I'm going to go back to my own website. But then seeing her come over to GMI is cool, but a lot of people really are trying to find a way to sustain themselves, to be able to continue to do what they love. So when GMI is trying to find ways that they can flourish so that others can flourish behind it, it's truly a great idea. That way these people that would be beneficial to these sites can actually come over to this one versus having to go out of their way to make their own site. I know too many people that are like, I'm just going to make my own site. And it's like, okay, that's not it. That's not
that's tough. Yeah.
It's tough. It's still going to be tough. Yeah, you make the site and you're paying monthly for your URL and your domain, but if you don't have people coming in to see it, you don't have people coming in to see it. If you can't get it to where people already have established fan bases on their site and you can't get them to come and read it there, what makes you think they're going to come to your own site? Why not join a community? I think one of my biggest pet peeves about the independent community in general is that everybody's like, This is the Hunger Games. It's free for all. The odds be forever in your favor. And it's like, dude, think about it like this. If we went into war together and I'm like, okay, Josh, you go left, Pete, you go right, I'm going to go straight up the middle. Yeah, it's just the three of us when we could have collectively came up with a better plan to establish the ground together and go in together and take care of this together.
Yeah. No, I definitely hear. I think unity is a very important thing to consider, or at least community, in the sense of, and honestly, at the end of the day, I think if you want to go back to really what kind of inspired me in the very first place to do this, is I would take a look around all the sites and see all these comics. It was like, this stuff is really good. Why isn't this more exposed? Why isn't this more out there? And people are saying because it's so hard. The reality of being a comic creator, I mean, not just a comic creator, but like a manga creator, it's like, this is ridiculously hard, and it's like it shouldn't be this difficult. These people have great ideas. People have great talent. They shouldn't be struggling, at least not this much. We want to make it easier for people who have good ideas and who have the content and the skills to back up those ideas. We want them to flourish, and that's kind of what this is all about.
Yeah, their hard work should never feel like it's going to waste. Even if it is a part of a smaller community, that can go a longer way than being a part of something and feeling, shut out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's one of the big things I see a lot in the community is that people just get burnt out at the end. You ask people like, "Why'd you stop?" It's like, a boat can't keep going with no steam.
No, and they have to pay their bills. I mean, that's the crushing reality of all this. It's like, look, man, I love doing this, but I work 9 to 5, and I come back and I'm zonked, and it's like, damn, because you got talent, and one of the saddest things for me, and I've seen it over and over and over again in my position, is you see a great comic or some idea, somebody who has talent, whether they be an artist or writer or whatever, and they just burn out, like you say, and it's just like, damn it, because we will never see what they could have done,
And I'm reminded of Ryan Dickey. I don't know if that name rings a bell for anyone here. Does anyone here know Ryan Dickey?
No, yeah.
Jay, you know Ryan Dickey? Okay, so he was the guy who I originally found. Actually, a couple of our mutual friends through, and I found him through something called Revolution Zero, which was kind of I think it was Revolution Zero. Let me look it up really quick. Regardless, name is irrelevant. The whole idea was that he wanted to make this manga magazine because he felt there was a market for it. Mm-hmm. And I agree that there's a market for it. Whether or not you like what he did or not, that's one thing. But he tried. He put heart and soul into it. I'll give him that. Like for years, he put heart and soul into it. I was following him for a while, and at the end, like, he stopped. About a year ago, I think, maybe a year and a half ago, he just stopped. And the reason being is just, it's so easy to forget why you want to make comics when you have to go out, work a job every day, and you come like a 9 to 5, or even some people have even worse hours, and you come home and then you get to create after you've given all your energy away. It's kind of, it sucks, and he ended up stopping because he got a job. He started a business with his brother, and it was like, I think he kind of came to the conclusion, why would I keep doing this when it's just failure after failure after failure? And it's just part of it is there's just this law of large numbers on the internet. There's so many people out there, and for a lot of people, you're just another fish in the sea.
Yeah, and I think that honestly, like, as much as this field, like, not just comics, not just manga, just any creative field, we sort of like, you're in this for the love of the game, and that is true. But everybody's gonna be exhausted after, in their 13th hour of work, so to speak. So it's like, if you come home after a 9 to 5, and then it's like, I gotta sit down and I gotta come up with not only good ideas, great ideas for being able to stand out. I mean, that's tough, and I can see why, so many people will kind of go, no, I just can't, and it's a shame that it has to be that. I think in like a perfect world where people could benefit from their creativity and their skills, and we could see what their potential is, and I think that's resonant with what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. Like I think the saddest thing, I'll be honest, like, if Disney's popular or not, that's not what's important to me. It's fun for me to create it. That's why I do it. It's a labor of love, but it's still fun for me to do it, and that's why I do it. having said that, for a lot of people, it's more than that. You know, it's their job a lot of times. You know, it's what they need to do to survive. It is their bread and butter.
That's me.
You know, yeah, and they just, you know, and they get the short end of the stick because again, there's just a lot of large numbers. There's only so many people that can take money from the pot. There's only so many people that can find success in it. Yeah. Unfortunately. So being able to open that pot up, is what I care about. Is being able to say, all right, we're gonna get more people in. We're gonna expand who can get what, make it easier for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that.
So, is there anything you'd like to add in, Jay?
Well, my whole thing is that I've been doing Infinite for what, 3 years, since January 12th, I think, or 10th, 2014 is when I first put up the first 10 pages of Infinite. And
you've made exceptional progress, I got to say, comparatively. I mean, the fact that you're as far as you are right now in only that amount of time. I know a lot of guys out there have a hard time keeping that kind of pace. So kudos.
Man, like, people just don't understand the journey that I had to go through to keep going through to keep this going, because I'm funding everything out of my pocket. Everything you see Infinite, the journey, I've either gotten a break from one of the artists that said, hey man, look, you didn't pay me enough, so I'm gonna hook you up, or hey man, we're cool. But a lot of that stuff, all the art, I've paid for. So it's been like, I started out with this dream and I want to see it succeed. And there are a lot more people out there that are in not as a fortunate position as me, that don't have the time, that don't have the chance to create, that have so many different stories they want to tell, or that they just don't care. They're like, you know what, I know how the world is out there, so I'm just going to create this. I'm not even going to bother to promote it. I'm not even going to bother to say a word about it. I'm just going to create it for me. If it happens to get found, yippee-ki-yay. If it doesn't, cool. And to know that there are people out there that have great stories like that, or that they're just going under whatever umbrella they can to get it, to escape the rain, or they're just feeling the pressure that I have to try to succeed now, or I won't ever get the chance to see the light. Those things like that are what hurt me. So I try to be the voice for the voiceless, or the ones that aren't heard, you know. And it just sucks to know that they don't really see the light at the end of the tunnel. That you have people out there like Peter, that are just like me as a creator, or like Josh as a creator, that just want to create or want to flourish as a community and give people that bigger umbrella versus, well, yeah, your comics are in color, okay, you can come under this umbrella. Yours is in black and white, you got to stay out there in the rain. Or it doesn't have this. It's like there shouldn't be a filter. It should be just a ever-flowing river of content and creators to just be able to come in and enjoy each other's work. And then be fans of each other's work, fans of fans, and fans of creators. And then also,
it's important to remember that you don't like. And on that point, it's important to remember that if at the end of the day you're only taking one kind of thing and you're only doing one kind of thing, that ultimately, to an extent, especially like when you claim to be like a creative community, it can result in like stagnation. Now, you know, that's not to say that is what happens all the time, but it's important to have, like you said, to let a lot of different people in, because that's how new stuff is made. You know, that's how new stuff is discovered.
Yeah. No, it sucks because there's there's a lot of things out there that are gonna slip under the radar, and I appreciate what you do, Peter. That's all I wanted to say. I think it's great.
Yeah, we're doing our best to keep things up and to improve. And I mean, the thing I say to people when they say, you know, I can't, you know, I go, yeah, at the end of the day, we're working to make it easier. But until then, just remember, you know, One Punch Man, that's still a thing. That was a webcomic, and it starts small.
It still is a webcomic.
Yeah. I mean, you know, so there it does happen. You know, don't give up as easily. You know, and just holding on to that, and you got a craft, you got something that speaks to you. Keep at it, man. You know, I think to an extent you don't really have a choice, because it resonates with you. It burns it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Once you get that ring in your ear and you can't get rid of it.
That fire. Yeah, and it's just like, all right, you got to keep at this, and it's tough, but you can do it. You know, it's not 100% impossible. It's tough though, but you can do it.
We believe in you.
Thanks a lot. I'm gonna do my best and GMI is definitely going to do its best to improve. And like I said before, anybody listening to this, totally come to the forums, message the accounts, because I'm listening, we listen, and we definitely want to try to make this network the best it can be for all the people out there who have been kind of touched by manga, and influenced by this art form.
Yeah. So I gotta ask you, Peter, do you make a comic?
I actually I've been spending so much of my time since starting GMI doing manager work, so I would love to down the road get back into like the creative circuit. One of the reasons that this is sort of an exciting process for me personally is because I get to see all these different artists, and I sort of have this sort of like dream that like one day it'll be like, hey, you know what? I want to get this person and this person and this person together that I worked for years and just sort of come up with this project and kind of flourish it. So for now, I'm not working on a comic, but down the road, that's something I would definitely be interested in doing again. But for now, I'm going to work on the GMI network, and once that's sort of set, we'll see.
No, awesome. Yeah, no. I was gonna say, there's no way someone this passionate about something like this is not in it. Like you gotta have some ideas for comics. You see a lot of them. I know you read a lot. So
yeah, I definitely. I mean, I started this this whole kind of adventure trying to kind of be like a lot of people do. I think when you first hit the scene, you're like, I'm gonna start my own thing. I'm gonna do everything single-handedly. I'm gonna just this and this, and I'm gonna have this amazing work, and I think a really important turning point to this is that it's like, you're right, but you got to do all that by yourself, and that's a very difficult road, and that's a difficult task, and kind of seeing that and the reality of that situation, I was like, there's got to be a better way to improve this. There's got to be a better way to make this easier, because I'm seeing so much potential that that is going under, like we talked about, and I think that it would be, and what I decided I wanted to do was kind of help out in that regard.
Awesome. Jay, is there anything you wanted to add to that?
No, me personally, I would just love to see more chances at there being promotion for GMI, so people know about it.
Yeah,
also,
we're gonna definitely work on that as well as we get going with Kickstarter and stuff like that.
Yeah, we'll link it in the description and whatnot. That'll be cool.
Thanks a lot,
you can
guys.
Check them out online. One thing as well, since we're talking about this, I think it'd be really cool if you listen to this and you make something. I don't care if it's music, comics, if it's just artwork. Go ahead and leave it like a comment in the description telling us what you do. We'd love to hear about it. We'd love to see it. Jay, would you love to see it, Jay?
If you got the nerve to be making something creatively and you're not going to be foolish enough to put it out there for the world to see, shame on you. Put it out there. The worst thing that can happen is you end up in the same exact scenario you are before.
And you wonder what if, you don't want to wonder what if.
That's the last thing. I would not be where I am right now if I thought, oh, well, what if? Or I wonder what happened, because that's the worst feeling in the world. Is 5 years from now you go,
you never know.
I wonder what would have happened if. Because I still kick myself to this day about a lot of girls I've walked past and said, I wonder what would have happened if I said something instead of shutting up like a schmuck and walking by. Don't be Jerry.
Yeah, no, take the plunge, man. Like, I'll be honest. Like for Dizzy, it was always like, okay, well, I'll do it eventually, and then it became, oh well, if I don't like something, I can always redo it later. Now it's just like I have fun creating, and I would honestly recommend it to people who are hesitant. Don't be afraid to start, because once you start, there's no going back.
Yeah, it's very hot over the wall, I think.
Once you pop, you just can't stop.
So there's
I don't know what I would be doing right now with my life in general if I hadn't done this, because it's led me to meet so many different people, and it's led me to inspire people, and it's led me to just have a different change in lifestyle. I mean, despite my hardships, I've lost I want to say 3 artists since I started this in 3 years. I've collectively built bonds with people outside of making this comic as just good friends and good people. So a lot came from me doing it, even though it was through trial and error, and it wasn't even about the money that brought everything together. It was about the fact that I had an artist step away from the project, and he said, dude, you literally tried to promote this story to get people going when you had your back was against the wall. You had no way in the world to get this up and going again. And because of your determination that you literally were fighting with no arms and legs, you inspired me to come back and work on the story. I don't know how you did it. I don't know why you did it, but I did it. And that could have possibly done something for him in his life when his back was up against the wall. You know, so again, it's a very relative thing that I keep bringing up a lot. It's very reoccurring with me is that I take my mess and I turn it into a message for others. So it's like I'm taking the mess that Tapastic and Ink Blazers have done and turning it into a message for Peter, for the other Peters out there, and for people like you that are creating to follow it, to do something about it, to be more, to just go for it and take the jump.
Yeah, I think that's very true.
Yeah, burst through the galaxy with Major Heart and shine all the way through.
That's great. You made that up. I love that.
Awesome. So is there anything else you'd like to add, Peter?
No, I think just check out GMI. We're still growing. We're still we're still a little rough around the edges, but we're working toward improvements. That keep an eye out for the Kickstarter. We're gonna definitely focus on the things. I've been taking people's opinions. I've been sending stuff. I actually sent some stuff to Jay. I sent some stuff to Ogawa, and trying to get people's feedback on what do you think the most important things to focus on are, and you know what you want to see, and we're gonna try to incorporate that.
Awesome. Jay, is there anything else you'd like to say?
Yeah, definitely, guys. Check out GMI Manga. Peter, find a way to do more promotion. Shame on you. Joshua, you should think about getting Dizzy in color. And hopefully, me and the team can finish Infinite Chapter 6 this month coming up, because we switched to monthly releases now because it's just better for the team and better for me personally. But hopefully we get that done, and as I was letting Peter know ahead of time, Chapter 7 of Infinite the Journey will be exclusive to GMI Manga and also to my website. It will be released later on to Pastic sometime later on, but I can't continue to pour into that site anymore, so I'd rather put it in a good home, whether it's 800 subscribers or whether it's 10. So
thanks a lot, man. We really appreciate that. Yeah. Really appreciate that.
Awesome, yeah. Check out. I'm gonna do a shameless plug here really quick since
by all means, yeah.
You can actually
shout out to Joshua though, because he's in the newcomers section and he's actually in the lead right now.
You're doing really well.
And 2, he has exclusively won over 2.
Yeah, I haven't exclusively gone over to GMI, but there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff you can see. I'm trying to, as I mentioned, it's a lot easier to be more active there. It's easy to post things. You get better update systems and whatnot. So I've been posting a lot more behind-the-scenes pictures. I'm active on there. I might not comment on as many forums and stuff, but I do blog posts and stuff.
It really doesn't.
I'm an introvert, man. What do you want from me? I try. I gotta try. I gotta get better, but I am there. You can contact me there, and I post through my blog posts and whatnot. I love the website. You know, you can see my comic on there and whatnot, and you can vote for me right now if you want, because I'm in first place. I don't know what happens if you win. I've never won. I've only been recently.
Hey, that's a touchy subject. I ain't never won either. 3 years, man.
No, but so yeah, it's my shameless plug of the night. You can read Dizzy on GMI as well. There's some behind-the-scenes stuff you can check out. So awesome, yeah.
This has been great, guys. Thanks for having me on. I gotta say.
Hey, no, awesome. Thank you, because not many people have gotten a chance to hear you, and I can't keep I can't keep watching the same YouTube video of you at that convention over and over again.
I know we got one of the things we really got to start expanding on that stuff, and we're
do a Facebook
yeah.
group, man. You already got the div. Do a Facebook group and invite artists in, man. Like, you have no idea the wonders that can do. If you can just find one person to just head that up, or 2 people, I promise you that might help. Because there's a lot of artists that don't go on DeviantArt anymore because it's cluttered. Tumblr may be another option, but I think right now Facebook would be a really cool thing because we could all share that. Like that, a lot of the artists could just share that. The Facebook page is good, but people can't post there, so they're not gonna post there. That's
A group on that, that's actually a really good idea. I'll look into that. Thanks for
yeah.
the tip.
Just make sure you put Infinite on the page for 1 year. No, I'm joking. On the front page. No, but
front
seriously,
center,
no,
right? Yeah.
front center in gold. But no, seriously, just think about. I've been thinking about that for a long time, and I think that would really open group. That'll really just build more awareness, because you can share that, you can post all your stuff to that, and then you can link it to the page. Because the page is really there for likes, but that's more for the community, and that's where you can do a really good start, especially with the Kickstarter coming up, because you can launch like the upcoming events and stuff. And why are we talking about this on live? I'm sorry, guys, that are listening to this.
There you go, Joe.
I don't get a chance to really talk to Peter, and like I said, I'm just really behind this program, this website, the message, the mantra, the manifesto.
And that's exactly what we want, man. I mean, we want people coming, and even if you're just gonna come and say like, this thing is terrible, you should improve it. It's like, that's fine. Anything. Like, just tell us what you want to see.
Right.
We know that some of this it's still very rough around the edges. It's still kind of sloppy, but we definitely want to improve. We want to get it to that place everybody can be proud of it.
Yeah, awesome. No, so shameless plugs out of the way. Peter, don't leave afterwards because you'll get salty. But,
all right, I know.
Before we go, I wanted to say something really quick. Free Comic Book Day is this Saturday.
That's right. Yes. Remember that. I always forget.
Every week I keep telling myself, I'm going to say something on the podcast. I was going to kick myself if I forgot this time. May 7th is always the first Saturday of May, and it's this Saturday upcoming.
Mm-hmm.
You better be there. You get free comics.
And the day after that, Mother's Day, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Mother's Day.
Don't forget, your mama will be mad. Yeah.
No, free comic book day. It's a cool thing. It varies from store to store. They basically get a bunch of comic books. You walk in, you be like, I want those ones. You walk out. Yeah, it's a good time to get into reading comics if you're thinking about it. These aren't the indie stuff, but if you're interested in comics in general, it's a good starting point.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, all right. My name is Joshua Harper. I am joined by my esteemed co-host, Jerry One Hero.
Again, thank you guys for coming out this week to another J Talk podcast episode. Thank you to Peter and the GMI Network for what you're doing, and thank you for coming out. And thank you guys for reminding me that Mother's Day is around the corner. I will be sure to visit my mother's gravesite and give her all the love that I can.
Awesome. Peter, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. This has been great.
Awesome, yeah. And we'll see everyone else. We'll see you all next week.
Greatness lives with them.
Yeah, take care.